This video was meant to come out in April, but the file somehow got corrupted and couldn't be restored, so I had to rework it from scratch. So please enjoy.
The Super Mario Bros. Movie is finally out, and my sister and I actually got to see it the week it was released. And despite a few issues, at the end of the film, I came out to my local cinema feeling very satisfied. But a few days later, I noticed a lot of reviews saying how the movie didn't live up to the hype and was mediocre. I know just because a film does well financially, it doesn't mean it also does well critically. And this may just be someone's opinion at the end of the day, but I decided to do some justice and say what I think about the Mario movie. Before I start, I think I should give you a very brief history on how this got made. After the critical and commercial flop that was the 1993 live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie, Nintendo became much more protective over their IPs and were reluctant on making another film adaptation. However, in 2006, Nintendo released the Virtual Console line, and this made Mario creator Shigeru Miyamoto believe that there was potential for another Mario movie. Yeah, it's kind of weird that this, of wanting to make another Mario movie, but this time it would be animated. However, a Mario feature film would require a big animation studio, and Nintendo were just a video game company, so this idea was shelved. Then in 2015, it was announced that Nintendo and Universal were in a partnership where they would be making Nintendo themed rides in Universal parks, which would become Super Nintendo World a few years later. And it was during the development of Super Nintendo World that Miyamoto met Chris Meledandri, the founder of Illumination. And after realizing Meledandri had a similar creative process as him, Miyamoto believed that Meledandri would be the right man to put Mario on the big screen. As the two began discussing film ideas in 2016, and a few years later, it was announced that Nintendo and Illumination were officially making a Mario movie, with Miyamoto and Meledandri in a producer role. So it's pretty clear that from the start of the film's development, it was in very good hands. And after much speculation on who would star or direct the Mario movie, in September of 2021, they finally announced the cast, and the response from the press was interesting. Then, after a year of waiting, we finally got the first trailer for the Mario movie. And though it was a few months ago, I remember it like it was yesterday. And so once they announced the release date, my Easter break plan was settled, as me and my sister actually went to see it the week it was released, on Easter Sunday. And despite some problems, overall, my sister and I really enjoyed it. But before I could say what I like about the Mario movie, I think I should start with things that bothered me, such as the pacing. At the start, they did show a good chunk of the Mario Brothers' life in their hometown Brooklyn, and how they struggled to keep the plumbing business afloat. And after an unsuccessful day on the job, Mario feels down on his luck. But after hearing of a flood incident in his local sewer, this motivates him to fix them and to finally get the recognition he wishes for. And of course, Luigi tags along with him. But whilst investigating, they notice a weird green pipe and get sucked into a parallel universe where they are separated. And this was where the pacing went off. While Mario wonders where he is, he bumps into Toad, who is like,
"Hey bro, watch your jet." Psych!
And after a very brief conversation, Toad just takes him to Peach's castle. Because of the wonky pacing, it just feels like they jump from one scene to the next, while some scenes barely have time to breathe. I know the Mario franchise is filled with history and references, and they clearly wanted to show much of it as possible, but this really affects the pace, as characters and places aren't really given that much development or depth. Not much is really explained. Yeah, we are told that there are other lands besides Mushroom Kingdom and Bowser's World, but the only things we see of them are in this travel montage, apart from DK World where they drive cars for some reason. But I hope they expand on this concept in the sequels, or this could be missed potential. Also, I don't think Peach explained to Mario why items were in boxes. By the way, I found it really funny how Mario hates mushrooms in the film. Speaking of which, though the story is simple, I think the characters make up for it. They did a great job capturing the Mario Brothers dynamic. As we all know, they look out for one another, they help and encourage each other, and though sometimes they do get on each other's nerves, at the end of the day, they can't live without each other. And the film captures that really, really well. Like in the scene where the Mario Brothers were kids, I wasn't expecting Baby Mario to appear in this. And when Luigi finally learns to be brave, Peach was pretty good. I do like the way they changed her character to make the story less predictable. I'd say out of all the characters, Bowser is probably the best one. Just like his game's counterpart, he does pose a threat to the inhabitants of the Mushroom Kingdom, but also is clearly not meant to be taken seriously, as he goes through all this effort just to impress Peach and hopefully get her hand in marriage. Though, I have a mixed opinion on Donkey Kong, as his whole conflict was that his father was unimpressed with him. But his conflict is solved really briefly in the next scene after. Basically, during the Mario Kart scene, they get separated and eaten by, I think, that weird eel thing from Mario 64. While in the belly of a whale, Donkey Kong's like, oh, my father thinks I'm a flop. And Mario's like, my father thinks I'm a joke too. And then the conflict is solved. Though, I do have mixed opinions on Toad, as I don't exactly remember his motives. Yeah, he's the first person Mario meets in the Mushroom Kingdom, and he does help him get to Peach's castle, but in the scene where Bowser attacks Mushroom Kingdom, Toad, you need to retreat. No, I want to help you. And Peach just agrees. Though the cast do add something for the characters. I'm pretty sure we all had the same reaction when they announced the cast, and my own was pretty mixed when I first saw it. It made sense for someone like Jack Black to play Bowser, and having Charlie Day play Luigi did sound reasonable. But I had my face in my palm when they announced who would play the plumber. And he clearly saw the controversy, as he was like, oh, just wait till the movie comes out so you can hear what Mario sounds like. And so, when I went to see it on opening week, Mario sounded kind of how I expected him to sound if he was voiced by Star-Lord. Though, he doesn't sound bad, and you can tell he tries to do a decent impression of the plumber.
My final verdict is that this was a film clearly appealing to Mario fans, so non-fans may not find it the film that great, but still might be able to find some enjoyment in it.